Okay, so this was this video. I want to get it just playing in the background for satire. Let's see if I can trip up a demon. But get this thing started. Now again, I don't know. This could be just some fake app that they put together and threw a bunch of spooky noises on for all I know. I want to be clear with that. But in the regards of, well, maybe not. And you've been hanging with me for the context of the information. Why it makes sense to me sometimes, and maybe people don't get it, is because when you're on the floor in the stone mill, it happens at this speed. This speed right here. I'm not bothering with any of this fucking impish bullshit and what it turns into for the most part. Generally it is what it is. And so there's going to be a lot of this over here. I mean, I don't know. You got to give me the military personnel that's been possessed. That's not some damn snowflake. You know what I'm talking about? It doesn't have, 42 just blinking at me. I'm a snowflake. Blink, blink. LED. Just, because it's going to light up. It's going to be like, oh, crazy. So at this speed, this is how that works. And who the hell knows back to the operation area, OA, AO. I'm an AO. I'm an area of operation. I can Vitruvian man this thing equally into the same system. Get the book, the snowflake out, Pensrose's Twister Theory ball, and, get him dancing around Princess Peach out here. And Bowser, hell, we don't even know. Maybe Bowser's the bad guy according to some conspiracy theory on YouTube. He might be the good guy. Mario could be just some dumbass that's floating around through the Mushroom Kingdom here for Princess Peach. All kinds of fucked up real good. And that's just the regular map. How Euler's numbers kind of do some time dilation, air turbulence, flow, pipe work. Yeah, master plumbery over here on some of the systems. So again, I want to fire this thing up, and I just want to see what happens. Maybe I'll throw one in, be like tweet from the side or something. We'll see how it goes. See, there are pants, people. All right, so let's start over, shall we? Thank you, Lieutenant, I do believe. I don't know if you're a first lieutenant or a second lieutenant. I think first lieutenants are silver and second lieutenants are gold. Or the second lieutenant's gold and the first lieutenant's silver. It's one of those way or the others. It's hard to tell from this here. I'm sure he tells us in the beginning, but let's continue. Let's assume that the good lieutenant here, commanding officer, captain, whatever he may be, no offense, sir, certainly shiny up.
Hello.
1-to-1 over here. Inside here, when I'm talking about these kinds of mass gaps between stations, this was what I did. So back to what I was saying, anyways. The reason it has something, I forget whose book it is. It might be Jubilee. It might be Balthamuth or something like that. Talking about how Jesus goes to the gates with Michael kicking in the doors. Let him in, let him in. And you don't know which way on that goes. So up, down, backwards, forwards. Firstly that. Could be the gates up top. Could be there. Don't know. Don't care from here. Until I get an answer over here. Which has a hell of a lot with doing it here. Development of the actual field techniques around town. Figuring out a landscaper's map, right? And the landscape just clicked out on me. All on its own. Are going to be absolutely critical for somebody to understand it. And if I was the boss, why would I maybe want to give that to an employee? Test them on. Let's get this going again. So back to that, usually a guy like me steps into this lieutenant on leadership conversation. The leadership, well, this could turn in how to study the NCO Credo. Watch it every night at your house on that leisure. Here's where you can slide in the minutes. That's where this blindfolded, backwards, Latin on bulletproof glass trying to talk about Sigma Sum Lambda E2 on the chessboard starts to matter. And again, so you heard the interview on what that is. So if I said a name and you were thinking of that name, it'd probably come up in some actions at spooky distances relative to quantum time, yeah? And whatever that means. Again, I'm one of those marshmallows stuck in this meat puppet suit, so we're gonna have to power through this D12 dozer manual. Yeah, so I mean, hey, I'm happy to help, buddy. What do you think about all this? You want to stick around in here? Yeah, maybe you do, but then again, gonna have to watch that human possession. These guys around here, this kid, even the gunnery sergeant. I mean, they watch from the glass, and maybe they'll never admit it. But deep down, Lieutenant, they know. They know. Yeah, whole mass gap inside of there is really what it becomes. So there are certain lines. Again, I usually run that number. I can bang Gunny's wife and keep her happy while I'm working the rock and everything else, but it's just a joke. I do a good job and keep Gunny happy, so she's happy. Just as the incident report for what that one became later on in the after action report of the AR 620 presentation I had to give to the board that day about energy transmission and how to deal with the math problem and verbication of the complex conjugatives necessary to be able to handle a statement like that, honestly. Got questions? Provide me with an answer. I'd use this guy right here, or the recruiter down to Vestal. We already had a conversation with that. Let's see where that goes. It's like it goes to the National Guard. That's the number. If I'm going to go follow this rabbit whichever way it goes down the rabbit hole, National Guard is the Master Masonry IMA program relative to the Army Secure Force backup for, well, it's a separator for the policing system, but the Marine Paris Island has that, which generally is going to slide them back into what mainline workforce systems you got, because there's only so many things. There's so many jobs in the workforce, so many jobs in the salt crew. What are common reciprocals on the budget for the road crew, on the cicada wave functions of bridge failures and road failures, and unit speeds, how many units you have, what is the patrol by that area, in Hancock, because those are the chains and rats. Anytime we kind of forget that, or at least, there's a lot of it. People make shitty decisions, and because they don't do this, or the system comes up, I know a lot of good notes come into me when I was watching this video. I'm not just talking about the mud. I'm talking about mud. That we got to deal with that, because that's squeaky and heat. The second I walk into an interview about, well, you got to watch out for this guy. Listen to them, don't listen to them. Which ones are the big ones that have the information? And as much as everybody has information, how do you do that? The difference with that book is that grades regular rock veneers, talks about the samples, and when I bring up that book to somebody and they backed into something with the loader or got off the electron path without communicating, well, that's not a written thing yet. It's not a process. I understand not all of them. Some stuff's a one-off, but if it keeps coming up, right, that's prime. We had to do that yesterday, the day before. I don't want to do that 2 years later after there's a problem on something. I want to just be like, so that field right there, I'm going to need to make that grow. You're going to turn that into high quality problem right there. Yeah? Alright, have a good night.
It takes time. Like I said, this right here, 1 page a day can grind you out for 90 days. Especially I want that on that early run.
Blocked me out.
My
Turned it off.
Decide to make the rock.
So that's how the story's going down anyway.